All right, good morning, Mrs. Ratna and everyone. We are from Group 4. In this great occasion, we'd like to discuss about teaching integrated skills. Okay, next slide. Okay, here is our group member. The first one is Nimade Ratna Ardhia Indraswari. The second one is myself, Gusti Indah Setiawati. And the third one is Kadek Krisna Wijaya. Okay, next. Okay, let's just jump into the discussion. So the first section is the introduction of our paper. Next. The first is the background of the topic. In the background of the topic, we provide a little view about the material that we're going to be discussed for today's. So here is the background of the topic. The integrated skills approach that includes listening, speaking, reading, and writing has become a new trend in EFL context because it is believed an effective approach to develop students' communicative competence and the ability to use English to gain access to social, vocational, and educational or professional opportunities. All right, that's all for the background of the topic. Next. All right, what is actually are we going to discuss for today? All right, for today, there are four main topics that we are going to discuss. So the first one is the definition of integrated skills. The second one is the principles of teaching integrated skills. The third one is integrating skills itself, like how do we integrate the skills? And the fourth one is the advantages and disadvantages of integrated skills. All right, next. Okay, for the section 2 is the contents of our paper. It is contains all of the things that we need to know about integrated skills. Next. The first one is the definition of integrated skills. The researcher is intended to design a set of integrated materials. In the study, the researcher integrates the four skills. They are listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. Therefore, it is important for the researcher to discuss the theory of integrated skills. According to McNeil, 1985, to integrate means to coordinate, blend, or bring together separate parts into a functioning, unified, and harmonious whole. The integrated skills can be defined as the combination of two or more skills within a communicative task. It is valuable to integrate the language skills in order to engage the students in finding new information, which is delivered in spoken and or written forms. This information can be gained well by mastering the listening and reading skills. It means that all the aspects of languages are connected and essential to be mastered. This is clear that one skill can reinforce others. All right, next. Next is the principles of integrated skills. According to McCloskey, 1992-78, integrated language teaching model has 7 basic principles. The 7 basic principles are presented as follows. So the first principle says that language is best learned collaboratively, involving students working with both peers and adults. This principle means that focusing on integrated process can enable teacher to involve in the students' activities. This process must be helpful for students because they do need what's called by guidance, collaborations, and monitoring. The second principles, emphasizing learning the language in a socially supportive environment. This principle is something needed for the second language learner. The students are emphasized to learn language in English subjects in wide sites, which cannot be limited just for their classroom activities. They are required to be sensitive with their social circumstance. So the third principles puts emphasis in the learning language in a holistic manner, integrated the skills like reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and also the integrating language and content. This is the essence of integrated skills, which can truly help the students for mastering English skills in a highly integrated. Learning English cannot be focused on a single skills. In order to get the knowledge and competence of English, the integrated material must be delivered. And the fourth skills. The fourth principle states language is best learned when new learning is built upon students and take advantages for students' previous cultural and learning experiences. Learning English in a highly integrated gives more advantages for the students to gain many experiences from various activities and materials. The fifth principles uh, states that when teachers develop curriculum around students' interests, successful language learning is achieved. This principle means that integrated skill enable teacher to develop the materials and curriculum based on the student's need. In other words, teacher must provide materials which must be interesting for the students. All right, next slide. Okay, the sixth principle states the desired performances of students are attained when students feel ownership of classroom, projects, and experiences. This principle means the integrated skills must be successful in enhancing the desire and performance of students in integrated skills studying English subject. They are required to work on projects which are compiled in integrated materials and discussions. The seventh principle, or the last principles, the students learn the language when teachers provide a wide variety of materials, instructional, strategies, and ways for students to participate. Integrated materials must be able to provide various activities and materials which can let the students to be involved. All right, that is all from me. The next material will be explained by my partner, Krisna. Krisna, time is yours.
Okay, Indah, thanks for the time given to me. Next slide, please. Okay, in this occasion, I will continue explain the material by Indah about integrating the skill. In order to replicate the natural process of skill mixing, below we provide several ways on how integrating the skill need. This may help the teacher prepare the student the most suitable integrated skill approach and achieve the goal of this learning approach. Next slide, please. Okay. In integrating skill, there are four parts. The first one is speaking as preparation and stimulus. The second one is text as a model. The third one is text as preparation and stimulus. And the last one is integrated tasks. Okay, I will explain the first one. Speaking as preparation and stimulus. We often ask students to discuss a topic as a way of activating their sense in learning or engineering them in a topic that they are going to read or hear about. Speaking session allows students to investigate their thought and feeling about the topic. Frequency through speaking is part of a longer planning sequence. The second one is text as a model, especially where students are working with gender-focused tasks, written and spoken. Texts are a vital way of providing models for them to follow. One of the best way of having students write certain kind of report, for example, is to show them some actual report and help them to analyze the structure and style. The third one is text as preparation and stimulus. Much of language production work comes from the text that students see and hear. A controversial reading passage can be the starting point for a discussion of written response in the form of letter. Listening to a recording of a speaker telling a dramatic story can give students the necessary stimulus for them to tell their own stories, or it may be the basis for a written account of the narrative. In this way, we often use written and spoken text to stimulate our student into other kind of work. And the last one is integrate tasks. students are often asked to listen to something such as record telephone conversation and take a message or notes. We might also ask them to prepare a spoken summary of something they have read or read information on the internet preparation for a role play or some other longer piece of work. Almost any speaking activity is bound to involve listening, of course, but sometimes when students are involved in some kind of cooperation writing, they will be speaking, listening, writing, and reading almost simultaneously. In the task-based learning, or even just working on some single task, it's almost predicated on the idea of skill integration. Since it is usually impossible to complete a task successfully in one skill area without involving some other skill too. Okay, next slide. The advantage implementation of the integrated skill approach offers some advantage by Carlos 1990 describe five advantages in the integrated skill. The first one is skill integration provide continuity in teaching learning program because in this approach tasks are closely related to each other. The second one is activity in integrated skill approach can be designed to provide input before output. The third one is integrate skill, provide realistic learning. A skill integration allows for the development of all skill within a realistic communication framework. The fourth one is integrate skill. Approach provides chance to know and redeploy the language learned by students in different contexts and models, and it can be valuable for motivation because it's allow for the restyling and revision of language which has already been taught. And the last one is skill integration increase confidence to a weaker or less confident learner. Next slide. The disadvantage. Teaching integrated skill also has some disadvantage that will maybe appearing during the lesson, and hoping this disadvantage can be overcome really soon. There are some part in the disadvantage. The first one is student cannot focus on one skill at a time. It is because this approach requires students to be able to mention several skills at one time. And the second one is student cannot develop skill that they have not mastered yet. It is because this approach focusing on all the skills being used, not only one. Next. Conclusion. Different from the traditional language skills, approach with present language skill separate from another. The integrate skill approach present all language skill in conjunction with each other so that learners do not only know the language they are learning but also are able to use it in natural communication. The integrated skill can be defined as the combination of two or more skills within a communication task. It is valuable to integrate the language skill in order to enhance the student finding new information, which are delivered in spoken and written forms. According to McCloskey, 1992, integrated language teaching model has 7 basic principles that already mentioned above. There are also several ways on how integrating the skill needed. This may help teacher prepare the student the most suitable integrated skill approach and achieve the goal of this learning approach. This learning approach certain has its own advantage and disadvantage that can be considered by the teacher before applying in this class. Okay, that's all about my explanation. And thanks back to Indah.
All right, thank you so much, Krisna, for the explanations. All right, everyone, that is all about our presentation about the integrated skills. If there are any mistakes, we apologize. Once again, thank you.
Hello, class. How are you today?
I'm fine, Miss.
Hi, Miss.
All
Good,
right,
Miss.
thank you. Glad to see you again, guys. Now, I want to know who is the head of the class.
Me, Miss.
Okay, Tommy. Is anyone absent today, Tommy?
No, Miss. All present.
No? Great. It means you are happy to meet me and also learn with me, right? But before we start our class, it's good for us to bow our head for a moment to pray according to our respective belief and religion. Pray, start. Pray and. All right, thank you. Okay, guys. Firstly, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for joining my class today. And now, look at the screen. Please, next slide for me. All right. On the screen, there are three pictures. What do you think about the picture? Do you know what we will learn today?
May I try, Miss?
Does anyone know? All right, Woody.
Okay, today we will learn about the narrative text, maybe.
Great, you're right, Woody. It means you have studied before you met me, right? Good job, Woody. Now, I will read you a short story about Cinderella. Please listen to me carefully and enjoy the story, all right? Wait a moment. Once upon a time, there was a simple and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her evil stepmother and two stepsisters. The stepmother didn't like her and made her do all the household work. Her stepsister just never had to work. They just roam around the house in their fancy dresses. They always made fun of Cinderella because of her plain dressing. One day, a letter from the king came to their house. It said that the king is having a ball tonight and his son, prince, will be choosing a wife. So, every girl in the kingdom must be aware. Everyone got excited about reading this. Cinderella, too, wanted to go to the ball, but her stepmother told her that she can go if she completes all her work on time and also help her stepsister with their dresses for the ball. Cinderella worked as fast as she could to get everything done, but there was always something left, and at last she was left at home disappointed. She was so sad that she ran to the garden and said, "Wishes never come true." "Never, my dear," said a voice. As Cinderella looked up, a little wind and a kind smile stood in front of her. She was a fairy godmother. She wanted to help Cinderella go to the ball. With a wave of her hand, she made Cinderella look like a princess. She gave her a beautiful new gown, glass slipper, and shiny black horses to reach the ball. Before leaving, the fairy godmother said, "This magic will only last until midnight. You must reach back home by then." And then, when Cinderella entered the palace, everybody was awestruck by her beauty. She was the prettiest girl at the ball. Even her stepsister didn't recognize her. The handsome prince also saw her and fell in love with her. All the other girls were very jealous of her because the prince danced with her the whole night. She enjoyed herself so much that that she almost forgot what the fairy godmother had told her about her magic. However, when she saw the time and remembered the godmother's words, she quickly left the palace and ran away. In all the hurry, one glass slipper which she was wearing was left on the castle step. The prince had fallen in love with her and wanted to find out who she was, as he wanted to marry her. The next day, he ordered his king's men to go to every house in the land and find the girl whose foot fits in the glass slipper. And when they reached Cinderella's house, the two stepsisters tried their best to squeeze their big feet into the slipper, but they couldn't make it. And finally, when Cinderella tried the slipper, her foot fit perfectly into the glass slipper. And the prince recognized her from the ball night. He married Cinderella soon in a grand ceremony, and they finally lived happily ever after. All right, so that's a short story from Cinderella. Did you like that story, guys?
I really
Yes.
love that story, Miss.
Yes,
Yes,
Miss. I
Miss.
like it.
Okay, thank you. So now I would like to ask you guys, Jess, who's the antagonist from Cinderella's story? Want to answer? Okay, Gede Santiawan, right hand. Go on, Gede Santiawan.
Okay, the antagonist of the story is the stepmother and the stepsister.
All right, the stepmother and stepsister. Why?
Because they have treated Cinderella badly.
They treat Cinderella badly. Like what?
Like telling her to do all the housework by herself.
All right, good job, Santiawan.
Thank you,
Krisna,
Miss.
please next slide. So, from that story, we can conclude that narrative text is a text that contains imaginary stories, fairy tale, or true stories. Usually, there is a moral value to be learned at the end of the story, like in the Cinderella story, which has a moral value that we should have a courage and be kind, also forgiving others for doing wrong, right? Okay, Krishna, next slide. Now let's read the story. All right. I want you to read the story of Moana, and I will give you the link of story in the chat box. Okay, and then prepare yourself to deliver an oral about the story you have read, using your own language. All right. All right, you can check the link in the chat box. I will give you 10 to 15 minutes for read story. All right, the time is up. Krishna, please, next slide. All right, now I would like to, wait, I will see your name. Ita Tristiani.
Okay.
I would like to Ita to share the story of Moana.
Okay,
For
Miss.
Ita, the time is yours, Ita.
Okay, thank you for the time that you given to me, Miss. And now I will share my story about Moana. Once upon a time, there lived a little beautiful girl named Moana in Monterey Island. She loved listening to Grandma tell us stories. Moana's favorite was about the trickster they might Muff, who stole the heart of the mother island, the Fighty. According to Grandma, Muff upset the balance of nature by stealing the heart. Grandma told us last wish was for Mona to journey across the ocean, find Muff, and restore the heart of the Fighty. So, with the heart safe inside her knuckles, Mona set sail. When they reached Tiviti, they met Teka. She was a lava monster. They tried to defy Teka but could not. And in the end, Mona gave the heart to Teka, and Teka turned out to be realized that she was Tiviti. With her heart restored, Tiviti blooms once again. The world was back in the flames. That's all from me, Miss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ita. That's great. You really understand the content of the story, right? Good job, Speedy. Okay, Krishna, next. All right, guys. Do you feel happy after reading and listening the story?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
All right. Next, Krishna. Krishna, this next slide. All right. Purpose of narrative text is to amuse or to entertain the reader about the story. That's why you feel happy after reading. Okay. Well, next. Okay, well, this is the end of our lesson today. Let's do exercise. I would like you to create your own narrative text based on your experience. And the text written by hand on double folio paper. The text must conform to the generic structure of narrative text. You can search the generic structure of narrative text in Google, okay? And the assignments are submitted at Schoology with a deadline of December 1st, 2021. All right. Next, Krishna. All right, guys. Do you have any question about today's lesson?
No, Miss.
From me, no,
No.
Miss.
Okay. Did you enjoy the today lesson? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
Miss.
Miss.
Okay. Thank you for your response, guys. Look like you're still excited, right? Okay. Thank you for participating today. If there are any questions, feel free to ask me via WhatsApp group, okay? See you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.
You,
Thank you,
Bye,
Miss.
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 Goodbye.
See
Thank
you.
you,
Goodbye.
mediators. Goodbye.